All right, for more on this, let's now welcome Political Analyst Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast. Professor Breakfast, it's always a pleasure to have you with us on the show. So, as we open this discussion on internal ANC squabbles, I'm reminded of how this pattern seems to repeat itself every time towards specifically elections. Remember 3 years ago, the former ANC National Treasurer General Matthews Phosa had warned that at that particular time, the internal battles within the party could even lead to another breakaway party. And well, we saw, of course, the formation of the MK as well as members that were affiliated to the former president subsequently following him. Are we back to campaign leadership position squabbles, you think, particularly at this time?
Yes, we are. But my reading of the situation is that, when the ANC arranged that roll call meeting, I got the sense that the senior leaders of the ANC were speaking down on the councillors. For instance, Uncle Kwaramantashe cracked a joke that you sing well, but when it comes to getting the job done, dololo. And also the president later on came in to say that, you must look up to the DA-led municipalities. So, and then there was a backlash. So I wouldn't characterize the pushback from the rank and file of the ANC as being tantamount to ill discipline, because, respect is a tool. But of course, during this time, emotions are high and so on, and people compete for positions.
Mbalula, they're saying discipline within members is not inherited, it's in fact assimilated. Very interesting analogy there if you think about it, Prof. So I know you heard the first time, of course, that the president had made the references to the DA-run municipalities and service delivery. And I'm pretty sure you have also seen, of course, the damage control from within the party members in response to, of course, to the public reaction, and more especially the DA, which has since fielded Helen Zille yesterday as its COJ mayoral candidate. But was this damage control a little too late, including today's meeting that is currently ongoing with Fikile Mbalula and, of course, the party's ward councillors throughout Johannesburg?
Yes, of course. I think it's too late because the damage is done and what is done cannot be undone. You can see now what this statement has caused, because the DA is basically using it, reframing the discourse that even the president of the ANC looks up to the DA, or the president of the ANC is demanding that members of the ANC must look up to, and they are going to do that whether you like it or not throughout the duration of these local government elections. So that puts the ANC on the back foot, and as an analyst, I have to put the blame on the president of the ANC, because he should never have said that. It doesn't matter how they try their level best to sugarcoat this thing. The damage is done. And the DA is taking a strategic advantage of that, by using that statement to take a swipe at the ANC, but also campaigning for itself because of a statement that should never have been made in the first place.
Professor, going forward, we're so close to the local government elections. We saw how the party fared in the national polls. Let's talk about how you have actually measured or gauged the various party renewal interventions that were actually undertaken to ensure that factional battles, be it internal disagreements, are actually managed under the unity banner. Are you seeing any fruitful results of these interventions? We are currently dealing with a party that has a suspended police minister who's accused of shocking activities which apparently date back years prior to him even being at the helm of the police ministry. So what are their chances come next year at the elections?
No, I think the ANC doesn't stand a good chance of improving its electoral performance due to a number of factors. First of all, the romanticism of the past, the glorification of history. I think those are things of the past. At the moment, the majority of eligible voters are young people who don't vote in relation to liberation credentials. Secondly, the ANC has adopted a lot of policies of late, but those policies, like for instance, the step aside policy, it has been used to entrench hegemony by the dominant faction, not to deal with ill discipline. and people who have broken the law. So if you belong to the right faction, they sugarcoat what you have done, but then if you belong to the other faction, then they will use the step aside principle to discipline you. And that has escalated the magnitude of the conflict within the party, except other threats which come outside of the party, and that puts the party on the back foot. I think now our voters are wiser. They understand the nexus between rendering services and elections. So if you don't give services, tough luck. You can speak until you are blue in your face.
And we know where those services actually need to start from. That is at local government, Professor. So maybe as a side note and in closing very quickly, Professor, the next phase of the Mandlanga Commission is set to kick off tomorrow. And we believe, we're not sure at this stage, it will be the chance of National Commissioner General Fani Masimula's turn to take to the stand. And while if indeed it is him, we have quite a few answers that we are currently awaiting from him regarding, of course, I think, and most importantly, the question around the disbandment of the PKTT, as well as the matter of General Sibiya, among others.
No, of course, I think you've hit the nail on the head regarding that task team of political killings, because later on, I think there's a conflict that also broke out between himself and the new minister, because he handed over dockets to a KZN. But also, I'm sure he will try his level best to clear the air in terms of his involvement in some of the things that he has been accused of by the other general who was giving a testimony. But also there are other issues which are still hanging, like the senior police officers which have been disciplined. What is happening with those people? Have they been fired or what? I think those are some of the things that we'll try to clear the air about.
Absolutely, Professor. Always great engaging with you. Thank you so much for your time. That is Political Analyst Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast there on the current political developments in the country this week.